Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aswini Kumar. I work for customers. Most of the customers I used to help to migrate their enterprise workloads to PostgreSQL. So I will quickly jump into the agenda. So the topic is how we can adopt the ML capabilities into PostgreSQL. And we will try to understand in this session what is meant by the machine learning, how we are using machine learning, right? And how that is related to the relational database. And we will also explore the options to adopt the capabilities of machine learning into the PostgreSQL. So what are the steps that were involved in it and how we can integrate the PostgresML extension into the Postgres community edition. Available machine learning LLMs. What are all the available machine learning LLMs which are in free of open source, and the connectivity options followed by a demo. And I missed to introduce my colleague.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Veeranjaneyulu. I'm a delivery consultant in AWS. We help customer to migrate their on-premises database to cloud.
Thank you, Veera. So we are more familiar with artificial intelligence and machine learning, and knowingly, unknowingly, we are using it, isn't it, right? See, if you quickly jump into your WhatsApp, right, there is an option called Meta. What do? You will just give a prompt, you will give your query to the Meta, and it responds back with the answer, right? So the accuracy is a metaphor, right? So how the Meta is being improved in the background. So we will try to correlate the same concept to the machine learning, that the capabilities that we brought into the database. So now we will try to understand the two topics, one is machine learning and the artificial intelligence. So machine learning is nothing but fine-tuning an algorithm by providing the labeled data, right? It can be structured, semi-structured, not structured, right? We just need to transform them in such a way to compatible with the large language models to pick up that data, get that trained, fine-tune it, and release for the customer use. So we'll see what are all steps that were involved in this particular process. So traditionally, to achieve this kind of logic, right, or this kind of methodologies brought into our data, right, what do? We employ a program, a custom program. We will define the set of rules which to be followed and take the data, apply the transformation rules that we have defined, and then we will see the end results. So we used to do a continuous evolving process in terms of finding the data, write data, and fine-tune the data, do the cleans up. If you have any data duplication, we will clean that before we feed that data to your model. So this is a kind of hectic task, you can say. Lot of efforts are involved. Data developers, programmers, data scientists, everybody has to work together to build an algorithm. But with LLMs that are readily available, let's say the Hugging Face is the example. So it has lot of LLMs are readily available which are in free in open source. So we will also see what is the life cycle. I will just quickly hand over to add these points by my colleague Veera.
Yeah. In machine learning process, there are few key steps involved. One is data preparation. A second one is data processing. A third one is training the machine learning algorithms. The fourth one is doing the performance test, how the machine learning algorithm is working, and finally deployment. In data preparation, to make the machine learning algorithm, data is pretty much important, because machine learning is nothing but training the algorithm based upon your data to get some insights or recommendations. There is a difference between historical data and machine learning. Historical data means you run the queries to analyze the data to get the business insights, trends. But whereas machine learning is totally different. Machine learning is nothing but like you are training a algorithm on a specific data to get the insights and future recommendations or decision, whatever. That is the main difference. Data preparation is nothing but to get the relevant data to solve a specific problem. So to collect all the data and processing, to remove the duplicate or whatever the data is needed, really needed to train the algorithm, keep that relevant data, and you need to process the data in such a way that the machine learning algorithm can consume. So that whatever the format the algorithm accepts, you need to format data in such a way, and then other step is training the algorithm. You need to train the algorithm so that the algorithm can understand what is the data and what the customer is expecting and all. Finally, evaluating the performance, how the machine learning algorithm is working, and finally deploying. Once you get the confidence that the machine learning model is working, then deploy into production.
Yeah, thank you. So as he said, like we mainly focus on data preparation, which is nothing but process. We do a data deduplication and we correct the data and we refine it and we will feed that data to train the model, right? And then once we get trained the model, we will test with some sample queries. So we give the prompt and we see the response and we will validate that response. And with respect to the response that we got, let's see if we see any gaps in it. We will again go and correct our data and we will find the root cause and accordingly we will continuously evolve this process. So the traditional analytics explains what happened. So let's say if you feed your business data, right, like any data which that you can think of is like a movie reviews. So we have a online platform where you can book the ticket. There you can give your book experience. So how was the booking experience? That you can give it, and also you can give the rating to the movie that you have booked it for, right? So the traditional analytics explains what happened. However, the machine learning has the capability to predict what's gonna happen in future. Anything to cover?
I would like to add one more point that in this machine learning process, there are multiple people involved to make the machine learn algorithm to really become a foundation model. One is like database engineers or data engineers and domain experts, data scientists and data admin. There are multiple people works behind to make the model ready.
Right. For the use case that we take, for the use case that we take, what he is talking about is, let's say your algorithm should be trained on a pharmaceutical data, right? Definitely a engineer cannot do it. So we need a domain expert to cross-verify the data, validate the data, because we are giving that feed to the algorithm to get that trained and give the accurate results for the queries that is being submitted to the model, right? So here typically the machine learning data that we deal with, a text and image type and video and the tabular data. Most of the our data that we deal with is the tabular data. And text, when it comes to the text, we mainly focus or the moment that we think of the text, we can correlate with NoSQL databases. A DynamoDB or MongoDB, right? Those are all like document databases where you can see bunch of text were stored in the format of files. So if you would like to run any like sentiment analysis, or if you want to summarize the documentation, like thousands of lines of text which were involved or which were stored in your repos, if you want to do a summarization, so it is very hard, or it is not the human ability to read through and give a right summarization. So LLM will help in that. So when it comes to the image, let's say if you take an example of medical data, let's say ECG, right? And we also have certain kind of X-ray reports. So we can give those details to the LLMs to give right insights on it. And the example for video is to identify violation, the content which is being involved in that video violates any rules and regulations, right? And the tabular data, so you can do, as I said, the one example is sentiment analysis, right? Veera, anything to add?
Yeah. So data is pretty much important to train the machine learning algorithms, right? So whether it could be structured or unstructured, based upon the use case you want to solve. For example, you want to extract the images or text data from the document. So you need to train the algorithm in images. You want to do some text generation summarization. You want to, if you want to do it, you have to make the algorithm aware of the text data. So that so data, what kind of data is or for what purpose? So we need to train based upon that.
Exactly. Okay, the traditional model that we discussed about. So if we would like to brought the ML capabilities into the picture. So this is the traditional model that we used to follow before the LLMs are available. So this is a traditional model where you will just bring the data, select the data, and you also select the ML model, write an application code to read the data from the database, and you format the data, right? And you will keep them in a staging area, and you will call the ML service to run the ML models on top of it, and format the output, which is really important. So the model that you have customized and integrated with your custom code, which gives a response in the format of Parquet, or it could be in the format of natural text. But what is the right format of the response that allowed by the LLM is very much important. So we need to do all these steps to make an LLM to work on your data and give the right predictions, right? So this is a traditional way of doing it. For that, you require a lot of efforts, time, energy, and also on each step, the security is matter, right? Your data should not get leaked, right? It should not get exposed to any of the third party. So you need to take care of all these things, which is a self-managed kind of solution that we are building in a traditional model.
Yeah. So to make the algorithm trained, so often what we do is we get the data from the database, we connect to the from application to database, we download the data. Once the data is downloaded, there the data scientists and analysts, all they work on the offline data. So they do the data preparation and formatting in such a way that algorithm consume and model evaluation and to get the inference from model. So all these steps will be happen in offline only. So when it happen offline, so data may evolve, right? So if it is a OLTP system, every minute the data may change. They may not get the
real-time analytics or real-time predictions is not possible, right? Because you have employ a model to continuously read the data from the database and store it in staging, and your custom application will read through on top of your data, and it will generate the predictions, and it will handshake to the next service. That could be the another application. So to do this, it's a stringent process. To do this, we will definitely see a lag, right? You will not see a real-time data. Let's say if you are working on a solution where it requires real-time predictions to be delivered, right? This is not the right choice.
So here, to complete all these steps, that is the previous slide, what we explained, like 4 to 5 steps involved in that. But whereas there are some, there is a way to get the ML capabilities into the database. If we get the ML capabilities into a database, whatever we are doing, that 6 steps process can be eliminated. At least a few steps can be eliminated. Yeah,
yep.
Sorry. Can you go? Yes. What are the benefits we get if we get the ML capabilities into the databases? One is we can reduce the complex ETL process. so that we don't need to get the data, process data, everything we can do it in the database itself. Reduce the latency by performing prediction, so that offline process can be avoided because we can get the real-time data in database itself. And we don't need the complex languages like Python, Java, all these can be not required. So if you know the SQL, simple SQL statements, you can train the models, you can get the prediction, and you can get the whatever ML capabilities you want. And the security, so your data will be resides in the database itself, so you don't need to worry about the security.
Yeah, the case that he is talking about is what if we enable the extension in Postgres itself. So if we enable the extension with the ML capabilities in PostgreSQL, we will avoid all these steps, right? We don't really require to do the ETL. We don't require offboard and onboard your data into the staging area and where your custom application will pick up. So you don't require that. If you aware of writing the simple SQL statements with using of ML capabilities, so there are extensions that are available. If you just enable that extension, followed by that extension, you will be offered few of the functions. So with help of those functions, we can achieve. We will see those things in next slide. So here, before we really jump into the extension details, here the shorthand details. So we will identify the ML model that aligns to our business problem that we try to solve, right? And we will configure the ML model for the PostgresML extension, and we will simply run the SQL query, which invokes the ML service in the background and provide the results. So from 6 steps, it comes down to 3 steps. And you really don't require to any updates makes to the LLMs, right? So LLM in the background will make an updates. That could be security patches, or that could be the service level improvements that will be brought in. So you just need to focus on feed the data, train the data, and use the data. Use the model.
It is useful to quickly adopt the ML capabilities instead of building the big systems to
high in volume. Yeah.
So how to integrate this PGML capabilities into database? So this is the open source. PostgresML is the open source. It is tightly integrated with the Hugging Face model hub. If you see the Hugging Face model hub, there are lot many open source models and algorithms. Everything is onboarded in the Hugging Face. So it is integrated with Hugging Face. So whatever, if you create the extension, PGML extension, there are multiple functions will be created. Those functions will be called behind the scene. Those functions will be called these models. Whatever the model you mention in the function, and the task generation, whatever the task you want to do it, based upon that, the model will be called. And how to get this extension? This extension is not part of the community edition. If you want to get this extension, there are multiple steps involved. It comes with a library. There is a GitHub source code. First, you need to get that GitHub source code, and then once there is a steps, there are multiple steps involved in it. Once you've done that, then finally you will be able to create the extension. Otherwise, you will not be able to create the extension. So, as an alternative to PostgresML extension, we have Madlib and MindsDB. There are different extensions are available to bring the same ML capabilities into the database. These are also similar to that, along with the PostgreSQL.
Yeah, we pick up the PostgresML, but there are few other which are available. Apache Madlib is the one, and MindsDB is the one. So I just given here for the on a high level details, but you can explore to it. So how we can onboard our PostgresML extension into the PostgreSQL, right? So we have 2 options. One is you need to provision the PostgresML enabled version of PostgreSQL, which is readily available. We have given those references in the reference section that you can refer to it, and you can just download that PostgreSQL with PostgresML capabilities, and you can follow the installation and enable the extensions that we will, you can refer that in the reference documentation. So If you happen to choose the new PostgreSQL with PostgresML capabilities, you have a clean installation and direct extension setup, no migration needed. Immediate ML capabilities are available for ready for use. For existing Postgres, let's say your business is running on an instance which is built on PostgreSQL, right? So we have the following options to adapt the PGML extension. So you just need to provision the another PostgreSQL server with ML capabilities and do a replication from your parent to child, right?
So that means you cannot bring that PGML extension directly in your existing database which is running currently.
Yeah.
So what you can do is like you can build another Postgres database which is having the ML capabilities. From that database to this database, you can create a foreign data wrapper. You can import the table. There you can run the ML capabilities. We have different options. You can create the logical replication or copy the data from there to here. And we have a PG dump also, right, to take the dump and restore. All these options, you can do that.
Yeah, here the model category and the model names. On a high level, we just listed down here, but there are many. For text-to-text generation, T5 base, the others are more self-explanatory. So if you have a long document summarization, this is the models that are available. So all these are like open source that we listed down here for the text and the sentiment analysis, text classification. So we just call out a few of the categories, the use case categories here, followed by the model name.
Yeah, all these models are available in Hugging Face Hub. Each task is different for each model. And then here one more thing is like one model cannot serve all the purpose. Like based upon your use case, you have to choose the model. For example, this is one of the use case, text classification. You cannot generate the text summary or text content using this model. You have to choose another model to do that. Specific model is designed for a specific category of work. Here what it is doing is, as an example, the task is text classification. First of all, pgml.transform is the function. When you create the extension, this function will be created to support the functionality. So it accepts the task as one parameter and input as another parameter. And there are other parameters also, like you can take the model is another parameter. So when you give the text classification and when you give the input, what it is doing is, it is understanding this input and it is analyzing that input and it is giving the score label, whether it is positive description or negative description, and as well as the score also. What that score is telling is like how the model is confident to give the score. The model is analyze that text, it will understand the text is positive. So the model is very confident that the text is positive. That score is between 0 to 1. 1 means it is near to 1 means it's more confident. If it is close to 0 means it's less confident. The model is less confident. It cannot predict that particular text. Yeah. This is one of the examples.
Let's take up the demo.
This one is also going for the AI developer.
Yeah.
So these are the extensions created, but when we create the PGML extension, extension you can see here. So just I'm creating a table called hotel review.
Can you just give a glance of readily available functions after we enable the PGML?
Yeah.
Just give a glance before we take it up.
So it has created one schema called PGML, and if you see these are all the functions it created as part of the extension. Yeah. It's not going. Can I take my laptop and come? No, it won't take this much time actually. This one, no? Extend this. So I have a table which is already, I created this table. This is the hotel review table. This table has a hotel ID, guest ID, and what is the feedback, what is the feedback it gets, and the rating, and all this data it has. So as I have inserted few records for sample purpose. One is positive reviews. The hotel stay is good, there is no issues, and another one is negative review, and mixed review, and natural review, and there are different kinds of reviews I have inserted. This is the data I have inserted. So what I'm doing is I'm running this particular query by calling the PostgreSML transform function. I'm giving the input as a parameters task and model. The task is text classification, and the model is this model I'm calling from Hugging Face. So when I run this query, it will give the label as well as the score. The label, what it is telling is the label. So the text is positive, and the confidence score is 0.99. That means the model will evaluate this particular text, whether it is positive text or negative text. So the text is positive. If you see, this text is negative. The terrible experience, the room was dirty, and all this, they have written some negative comment. If you see, the text is positive, and if you see the score is not that, which is close to 1. That means, what that means is the text is positive, but the model is not that much confident whether the text is really positive. So that such kind of things we can run in where class. We can put it in where class where sentiment label equal to positive, and the sentiment score is less than from 0.99, so that you can get all these kind of records to do the more analysis. This is one of the use case, and another use case is language translation. So I have inserted some data into the table. The data will be like some English text I have inserted, some French text I have inserted, which is corresponding to this English text. So what I'm doing is I'm asking this model to translate the data from English to French. So this is the input I have given. This English text is the field in this language phrase table. So here I have mentioned French text also in the table, because so that we can compare what the model output is correct or not. See, the model output here exactly similar to this it has given when I give the English text as a input. Both are matching. Here maybe it's not matching because it may be like synonym or a different way of saying. Yeah, you
model has improved
yeah.
further.
So this is one of the use case. Like that, the another use case is I have created the incident report table. It has different type of instance I have inserted. When there is an issue in payment process, or there is an issue with cloud storage, or there is an issue with email service, all kind of data I have inserted. The issue is like multiple kinds of issues, and it has a long text. What I'm telling is like I'm running a query to summarize that data. So each and every description, it will go and it will give some like 100 lines of word or 10 lines of word. It will summarize and it will give the information, summary information, what exactly that text is saying.
Summarize the text in a crisp manner. You mean
this
to say.
manner. Here we can pass the parameters also, like we have a argument. Argument is one of the parameter. In this argument, you can pass like number of tokens can be generated. The summarization, how many words the summary you want.
So you
want
you mean to say you have the control on the response? How many
yeah,
words
you can
the
limit
response
yeah,
supposed
you can
to be?
limit the response.
Okay.
For example, the model is giving 1,000 words of line. If you don't want
Okay,
that,
the response that model has given is again a large text, and if you want to control it, and if
Yes,
you want,
you can control.
You have add an
Yeah.
custom tokens that need to be written part of the response. We have an option.
Right. And also we have another parameter, temperature. Temperature. What it will do is like the accuracy and it will give the accuracy. If the temperature is between 0 to 2, it will give the accurate result, crispy result.
So temperature and the confidence that we talk about are related to each other, or those are all different terminology being used for different models?
Temperature is related to model. Model will consider that parameter and it will generate this.
Okay. So the confidence is after the response.
With confidence.
Confidence that we talk about, the 0.9.
Yeah, that is different. That is different. See, this is the text.
That's a original text, right?
Yeah, that is.
Can
the
you show
original.
up the response given
So
by the model?
This is the model has given. High CPU usage. It will understand that text and it will summarize. High CPU usage was the cause of the problem. Like that, we have another use case. If you want to generate about machine learning process, you can generate some data. Maybe it's not working. It's not working.
Okay.
Like that, we have another use case, text generation. We have a product table. In product table, some data is inserted. There is a shoe. They wanted to advertise about their shoe, and they have mentioned the shoe features, whatever the features they have, and what is the price details, and what is the target audience. All the details they mentioned. They want to generate a content to promote their shoe, so that it can generate the content.
Okay, we have to give the context and the product and the other details like price and comfort. Everything if we given to the model will give the response in such a way which aligns to the for the promotion or the advertisements.
Maybe some issue with so that here you can mention if the table has like where you want to advertise, whether you want to advertise in social media or whether you want to advertise in somewhere else. So if you give that input, based upon that it will generate the content. Based upon the audience also, it will generate the content, which audience you want to target. Yeah.
Okay. Your products to be promoted to the any of the public audience, it will give a different response. For any of kind of events that you are presenting your product, it will give a different response.
Yeah, based upon the use case. Yeah. This is all about. There are many things to do. Just go and explore. There are.
Okay, here are some of the references that we had listed down and which you can refer after the session. And if you still have any questions, so we can take it up.
So remember that PGML is not only the extension, there are other ways to bring the capabilities. Just go through all the.
Yeah, Madlib is the one, right? So apart from the PGML, we have other readily available extensions. We have worked on this. I mean to say we tried a POC on this, and we just brought our learnings to the board. Any questions?
Apart from Madlib, what other extensions?
MindsDB.
MindsDB is the one. Madlib is the one. We see a lot of other stuff, but we did not get a chance to validate that, whether those responses are really talking about what we are looking for. those ML capabilities are offered in that, we are not tested. We are not checked actually.
For the large, for the LLMs, the internet connectivity is must required or not?
Internet connectivity, yes, we require.
Otherwise, we can't get.
No. Because we are referring to open source.
Again, phase requires a connectivity.
Yeah.
This PGML extension, you mentioned that you need to configure the setup on GitHub or something.
Correct. Yeah. To set up the PostgreSQL with ML capabilities, you need to download that extension, right? Extension supporting.
But is there any model which can bring up those capabilities without doing those things in the existing PostgreSQL DB?
No, there is no community.
No.
It's not added any.
In the
Postgres
community PostgreSQL, I cannot say no because we are not explored to that
In the
option.
community, no, the example that Aswini mentions, MindsDB, does have the capability. You can just plug in that your Postgres and then do your ML queries on top of Postgres, just like simple SQL lingo.
Yeah. And we see the PostgresML, we see both enterprise as well, but we did not get a chance to explore on that. But they documented in GitHub that it's open source. They do offer with readily available images as well, the Docker images, which you can refer to the Docker image and onboard the Docker image to your environment, and you can start using it.
And we have the PGI extension as well, right?
PGAI.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So how that extension is different from that PGML? That I think that also did similar kind of things.
Okay.
So I did a little POC on that, but I'm still.
PGAI is open source?
Yes.
Okay.
We have the GitHub repository for that also.
Mhm.
But there's a confusion. We have multiple extensions are there, but which one is the best? That we need to figure it out.
Multiple extensions, you mean apart from PGAI, PG Postgres?
PGML and those
Right, right.
MindsDB,
Hmm.
those multiple extensions are there, but which one is the best?
Maybe once we start using that, then only we can come to know. Otherwise, like,
See,
not
it's,
possible.
I mean, yeah, that is a straight away answer, but as a developer, what we had to first, we need to narrow down our business, what kind of business that we are running, what kind of offerings being given from the particular PGAI either or PostgresML that we talked about, right? So we first need to narrow down the what kind of use case that we have and then identify the extension. Yeah.
So does PGML actually integrate with services like Olama? Because I think that might solve the online issue a little bit, that you need to have an internet connection to interact with the large language model. So does it provide that
It does.
with Olama?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
One question. So like when we are like extracting the data ML, while we are using libraries, right? So this
Yeah, which is written in Rust.
So OLAP and OLTP. So when we are using in OLTP, so there will be more resource utilization like CPUs. So most of that OLAP works in the GPU, right? So are the GPU supports PostgreSQL? I'm new with the Postgres, but
Okay, I'm not sure about it. But anyway, you will be running your ML capabilities within your database. See, the algorithm will get referred to the model, right? The underlying ML capabilities will refer to the model, which is Hugging Face, right? But your data will not get transformed. But that's a
So
good
you
question.
were,
but
you
we
were
will
asking
definitely-
about compute power.
during data preprocessing, during
Yeah, more compute power is needed.
Uh-huh.
So that
Okay.
definitely it will have an impact on the performance of CPU, right? So there are many CPUs while training the model, it will be using, right? So that's
Mhm.
one point. How the resource utilization will be managed in the OLTP databases.
Okay, your question is like when we do the model training, right?
Training
So, which are already pre-trained, but
Yes.
we are trying to train the model with the data what we have in the database.
Yes, correct.
What is the resource contention?
Yes, resource content.
That's purely depend on the volume of data that you deal with, right? That's the first one.
Of data,
Yes.
exactly, and that more CPU will
Yes, for sure. Yes.
As if I have GPUs
Yes.
using, so it could be very faster than.
But if you offload and onboard into the other database, it is double the cost, right? First, you need to invest the time to offboard from the database, primary database to secondary using any ETL, and offboard and onboard there, employ a model, LLM model, and train them. You will be training in a different environment, but that is a 2x cost. But definitely, yes, it will be cost, but I haven't get a chance to explore on that level. Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you very much.